Entitled Karen makes a fuss over my plane seat, then insists that I pay for her to move. So this happened back in January 2018, so my memory may be a bit fuzzy. I am a 23-year-old man who usually visits my parents and siblings for Christmas and New Year's, because that's the only time I can see them. So I am in the airport waiting to board my flight as I see a woman getting angry, because her kids were tired and wanted to get on the plane. I think nothing of it and hope she's not sat near me. Note she was at my gate. As I was approaching my seat, and I'll seat in business class, because I knew it would be smarter than asking people to stand up so I can get to the bathroom. When I get to my seat I see one mother and two kids, one in my seat. I tell the mother that's my seat, she is visibly pissed at that statement and snaps back.
No, it's not.
Me not wanting to have a fight on a plane, grabs the attention of a flight attendant, and I show her my boarding pass, so the flight attendant asks her to move from my seat politely. And as if being asked to move set off the Karen, in a raised voice, not shouting, says,
"This is my seat. I paid for it, so F off."
The flight attendant, still being polite, asks to see the boarding passes to check the seats. The entitled mother pulls two out for the seats next to mine. The flight attendant, slightly less kind, says,
"Madam, these are only 2 boarding passes. Where is the third one?"
The mother, thinking she's smart, says,
"I must have dropped the third one, so I can't give it to you."
So this causes me to butt into the conversation and say that
I have the boarding pass for that seat because it's my seat.
the look on her face, you would have thought I slapped her kid and called her a because she then shouts,
"Give me my boarding pass, you."
I'm confused why she's so delusional at this point, because it's obviously my ticket since I bought it. The next part was back and forth arguing, which I can barely remember, but from what I do remember, it was the flight attendant saying that I clearly paid for this seat, as it had my name on the boarding pass, and her arguing for a few more minutes before stopping, grinning, and she said,
"Well, if you want me to move so bad, how about you pay to upgrade me and my children to first class?"
I responded by saying,
Miss, I only have a business class seat because I do a trip like this once a year, so I tend to be comfortable during my flight, and I don't have the funds for 3 first-class tickets.
The flight attendant then says to Karen,
"Either you or one of your children will have to move, or else we will have to remove you from the flight."
Then without holding back, she screeches.
"If I leave, he's going to touch my babies."
Me and the flight attendant are physically taken aback after hearing this. After that, I stopped trying to be nice and responded,
Get the F out of my seat and never make those claims again, you self-centered.
The flight attendant tries to calm me down and calls for security. In the end, Karen and her children were escorted off the flight and I got a row to myself. What an entitled, self-centered Karen. It's beyond belief that she would make a fuss over someone else's seat, and then have the audacity to demand an upgrade to first class at someone else's expense. And then to make baseless accusations that you would harm her children? Disgusting. I'm glad that she was removed from the flight and that you were able to have a row to yourself. People like her ruin air travel for everyone else. Karen gets destroyed by a 4-year-old. Here's how it went. Earlier today I had an experience I will treasure for the rest of my life. Best of all, it's a short one. At the gym's pool I wound up befriending a lady and her son after she gave up her swim lane, so I could flail around without potentially steamrolling little kids in the family area. Wound up chatting a little bit when I'd be gasping for air on their end of the pool if I saw them again. Well, today it was pretty much the same deal, except at one point the mom flagged me down and asked me to keep an eye on her little one. She had to go to the bathroom. It's not my 3rd day, I asked no questions. I just nodded and assumed responsibility while she scurried out of the pool to the locker room. She was gone for maybe 10 minutes, during which time I'd given up on helping the lil guy learn to swim, and was being used as an impromptu jumping platform. He'd stand on my shoulders holding my hands and then jump in the water. I guess for him it was like jumping off a skyscraper, and I made sure he wasn't going to knock himself out on the pool edge or something. It was then that a woman walked over to us with a little girl in tow, demanding to know where the boy's mother was, and why he was using me like a jungle gym. Before I could reply, the little guy rolled his eyes at the woman and said the following, at max volume.
"Miss Karen, Mommy asked Mr. OP to watch me. She hasn't pooped in 3 days and I think she just got unstuck. Are you really going to ruin that for her too?"
The other adults in the pool within earshot, again, he was not quiet with his question at all, instantly went to either complete neutrality or barely concealed glee. I'm guessing said lady wasn't too popular with that crowd. Her face turned an alarming shade of red, and then huffed her way to the edge of the pool, and yanked her little one out of the pool and stalked into the locker room, muttering unintelligibly. Lil Dude definitely got a high five after that mic drop moment. I'm not his dad, and even if I was, I'd probably still have given him a high five. His mom was more than a little mortified about her medical status being broadcast like that, and she only came back to grab her son so they could head home. Looks like Karen finally met her match in a tiny 4-year-old. Who knew potty humor could be so effective? The fact that she got so upset just shows how fragile her ego must be. Maybe she should take a page out of the little boy's book and learn to not take herself so seriously. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and don't forget to click on the bell icon to enable notifications and stay updated with our latest videos. To catch up on all the stories, you can access the playlist located at the top of the description.